The Articles of Confederation. Key terms: Republic, Articles of Confederation, and Northwest Ordinance. So, in May of 1776, we're backing up a little bit. We're going to talk about the first government system that was established. In May 1776, Continental Congress asked states to officially asked colonies to organize their governments and to adopt state constitutions. It was determined, remember, we don't have a Declaration of Independence yet. That doesn't come until July. But the Continental Congress knew that many people opposed independence because of the fear that there would be no government. So they determined that state governments would be much easier to create than a national government. And they needed to have some type of government in place while they were fighting the Revolutionary War. Well, most Americans, as you know, were cautious about placing too much power in the hands of a single ruler. Why was that? Well, because they had lived under. So what they decided to create was a very limited power in the government. Extremely limited power. The governor would be the executive, part of the executive branch, and they used numerous precautions to make certain that that governor didn't gain too much power. For instance, most states divided the government functions. They also established a bicameral, bi meaning two, cameral house, two house legislatures, and elections were very frequent. In fact, maybe a little too frequent. About every year, the representatives were forced to campaign to get reelected. And they also agreed to popular vote. All of the election was by popular vote. Remember, I want to say everyone votes, but that's not really the case in 1776. It would have been landowners and whites and male would have been the only ones allowed to vote. But it was counted up strictly how many votes you got versus the other guy, and that's who won. Now, while they're discussing the national government, it was agreed that the national government should be a republic. Key term: a government in which citizens rule through elected representatives. Representatives republic. But that's about as far as they could agree. They couldn't agree on the organization, the powers of the new republic, and unfortunately, most Americans favored a weak central government because of their experiences under the king. States would be small, independent countries. Small, independent countries that would work together through a central government only for specific reasons, like to wage war and to handle relations with other countries. This was the decision of the American people. They did not want a strong central government. So what they established was called the Articles of Confederation. 1776, the Second Continental Congress appointed a committee to create a plan for their new national government. This central government's main purpose would be to coordinate a war against Britain. They adopted the Articles of Confederation in November 1777. Another key term. This is our first official central government. The United States' first central government. But it actually gave very little control to that central government. Under the Articles of Confederation, the government had the power to conduct foreign affairs, maintain an armed forces, an army, borrow money, issue currency. This was the limitations. It also created a firm league of friendship in which each state kept its sovereignty, freedom, and independence. Now, the government could not regulate trade. The government could not force soldiers to join the army. The government could not impose taxes. And all 13 states had to approve the Articles before they went into effect. Each state had one vote. All 13 states officially approved the Articles of Confederation on March 1st, 1781. So I want you to think about the Articles of Confederation. We're going to have a classroom debate on them. Do you think that they were strong enough to hold the country together and be able to explain the reasonings behind that? But I just want you to be thinking about that now. Now, one of the successes that is still impacting America today is the Northwest Ordinance. It was passed during the Articles of Confederation, passed in 1787, in which it created a single Northwest Territory. That's not the important part. The important part of the Northwest Ordinance is that it gave the process in which a territory could apply for statehood. A territory could become a state using the process in the Northwest Ordinance. Now, no slavery or involuntary servitude could be allowed in the new territories. This would become important. Think about what that means. No slavery or involuntary servitude in the new territories. But this was a very important piece of American history, outlining the process to become a state.